I'm going to talk you through the thing that you cannot survive without. Something that's more important than food, and that is water. We're going to be talking about where do we find it in the outdoors, how do we manage it, and how do we take it from maybe being brown, murky and yucky in colour to something that's consumable and not going to make you poo for weeks. My name is Rob Yates, and for the past 30 years I've been working at the cutting edge of the outdoor industry, specialising in training over 3,000 guides, coaches and leaders in the outdoors, as well as leading expeditions in far-flung remote places such as Central Africa, the Arctic Circle, Asia, South America, Alaska. The list kind of goes on. And what I found in all of that time is that water becomes the thing that we become most precious about, because you can only do without it for a couple of days, and even after 24 hours of having no real liquid inside of you, your judgment and decision making and safety decreases dramatically. Now, when I'm in the outdoors with a backpack on, there's only so many litres or pints of water that I can actually safely carry before my own physical performance starts to decrease. And that means that in a very short period of time, and that's often, 24 hours or more, actually I need to be able to collect, service and consume water that I find on my route. Now, this isn't going to be some massive survival lesson. We can do that at some other point in time. We can make stills and we can collect water from all sorts of imaginative and creative places. This is working on the assumption that wherever you are in the outdoors, you're going to be able to find water of some sort for you to consume. And by some sort, I'm talking about fresh water, not salt water. Salt water is a whole new thing for another episode, mostly concerning sailors. And so I'm thinking about waters that you would find in large puddles, ponds, lakes, rivers and streams. So the very first thing we have to do is identify the water that we want to collect and find the best place to consume or collect that water from. And so we need a vessel to collect it with. The pan from your stove. I've got a watering can today because I'm in my back garden. It came from the vegetable bed right behind me. And we've got to find a place to get it from and something to capture it in. So we're going to get our vessel, and then we're going to have a think about the place. And what I advise you to do is have a good walk for, 100 yards around maybe from where you're going to get that water from, to ensure there's nothing obvious that's contaminating that water supply. Often in the outdoors we find rotting vegetation, rotting animal carcasses from a dead animal, and unfortunately on occasions we also find pipes coming into water systems and water areas that often have contamination of some sort that becomes very, very hard, to the point of impossible, to be able to actually filter out that water safely. So we're going to go and collect that water. Now, in general terms, most debris in water tends to be, and stuff that you don't want to consume, tends to be on the very bottom and on the very, very, very surface of the water. The first couple of inches and the base is where the dirtiest water tends to be, and the stuff in the middle tends to be the cleanest. So we're going to go and get our water, and we're going to go and put it into something, a pot, a jug, whatever you've got. And our next challenge then is to take out the lumpy, bumpy, shitty bits from the water. Now, there's a million and one ways of doing that, but this is my rustic way of doing it. We simply get an old cotton t-shirt and shove it in to a big soda bottle. It might be a soft drink bottle, depending on where you are come from the world. But all I've done is just cut off the top, shove the t-shirt inside, and the t-shirt is going to catch all of the lumps, bumps and dirty stuff that's in the water. And then what I like to do is pop that at the top of my jet boil, pour in the water. There we go. All the water's going to come through here. And now all of those fine, minute grains of sand, algae, anything else, poo, mud have all been filtered out, and now the water often looks, by the way, when it's in the pan, looks very, very, very clear. Now, this is a good job, but it's not a good enough job. Now, if you're in a place where the water is exceptionally clean, you may well be able to drink it like this. However, I really wouldn't advise it. I'd really recommend that after we've taken the lumps and bumps out, that we go through a sterilisation process. And we've really got three forms of sterilisation that we can think about and consider. The first one is boiling the water. You know, put it in, boil it for 10 minutes, and that'll be very good to drink after we've taken the lumps and bumps out and we've boiled it for 10 minutes. A challenge with that is if you're cooking on a stove like this one, eventually you're going to consume very, very large quantities of gas or fuel in a very short period of time. So it does it very, very well, it's very, very controllable, but you're going to chow through and get through your gas or your fuel or whatever it is you're using very, very quickly. However, I find when I'm cooking on a fire, I always have a water pan to one side of the fire with filtered water that's always on a rolling boil. You can dip a cup in, you can take it off the fire at night, put it to one side, let it cool overnight with a lid on, and then the following morning fill up everybody's water bottles. But it really depends on what it is you've got available to you in terms of a fuel source to boil that water. The next option is to chemically treat the water. And we all know those. There's the chlorine-based tablets that you can drop into the water. There's different chemicals that you can drop in the water, and you can buy those from your local adventure sports, outdoor sports shop, or of course, I guess, unfortunately, Amazon has them as well. They often leave a funny taste in the water and sometimes can make your tummy be very upset for a short period of time. I've got two little hacks that I've used for a number of years now, one of which, and they say it isn't good for you, but is a few drops of iodine in every few litres of water. That can work beautifully, but iodine is getting harder and harder to find these days. I've also found that sodium hypochlorite, which is the key ingredient behind bleach, a couple of drops of bleach in 5 litres or 4 litres of water equally will do an amazing job at sterilising it. The best thing and my favourite thing that I use is this. This is a Sawyer mini water straw and a filtration bag. Now, I've got other filtering systems. I've got a very expensive, or pretty expensive, MSR filtering system that works off a Nalgene bottle and you pump it through. And I find that works really quite nicely when I've got a group of people that I'm going to be looking after and taking somewhere. But I find it's too big and too heavy and too clunky if it's just me. Whereas one of these Sawyer straws in this little bag works really, really, really simply. You chuck the water inside here. Really easily. Screw on your filter. There we go. And this works really, this is what I use when I'm out on my own. Pop off the end and then squeeze your bag and the water gets filtered and comes out the other end. Now, I've done the horriblest, most dirty water through this you could ever believe. And what I found is, especially with this, they advertise this, I think, for 100,000 litres to go through here in terms of sterilising it. So I'm not sponsored by these people. It's just something that I use. 100,000 litres. I've got an extra water container, and I just replace these every couple of years, and they work absolutely perfectly. And then, of course, we're ready to consume. So a quick overview with regards to water. Find the safest, cleanest, clearest place of uncontaminated water for you to go and collect. Sometimes that may well be a muddy puddle, and if that's the best you've got and you're surviving in a survival situation, then that's what you've got. But ideally, you're going to be planning your routes and planning your trip around the ability to harvest water and thinking about this for hours ahead of yourself. Often when I'm in the mountains, you know, streams and valleys and then tops of peaks, often lunchtime I'll be thinking about filling up enough water to keep me going for the next 24 hours. So when I camp out top of the mountain, I've got that supply ready to use. So we're going to collect it somewhere. We're then going to filter out the lumps, bumps, poo and debris. And then we're going to find a way of treating the water either by boiling, filtering or chemical treatment, and then consuming it. Now, if you've got any questions around water, it's capturing it, treating it, drinking it, whatever it might be, please put those in the comments below, and I'll do more videos and maybe a mini series on water itself. This is a few minute snapshot of water and how you can go about managing it. But in reality, if you were to go through all of the tools, tips, tricks and techniques that I use with myself and with groups on expeditions, we could be there for a large number of days dealing with it. So that's it from me. My name's Rob Yates. Go and check out the other videos, and please subscribe, comment and share, because that gives us the love and it keeps me motivated to keep bringing you more content.